I can't believe this guy.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this.
I can't
worked
believe
at
this
Blizzard
guy.
for 7 years.
What's
There's
happened?
a whole lot of other people there that still know me. And all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned. Yep.
Oh, this is true, though, because I said that he said that he was getting, like, threats, and anytime I see somebody claim that, it is always a lie. Bullshit. You got one message one time, like 2 weeks ago. It's probably not even related to this. And then he started posting screenshots in another post of, like, the things he was getting. I was like, oh, okay, maybe not, actually. These are really unhinged. I don't know if it's OnlyFans people, if it's like the World of Warcraft audience or what. But I was like, oh, okay, well, this is a little bit unhinged. When that one guy you and streams it, I'm gonna off on your dead corpse. LOL. Getting a 7-day game ban in a 20-year-old game greater than your father's head on a silver platter. Ahaha. Like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit crazy. I will say though, Pirate Software fucked up in the handling of this, but now it's like just kind of like standard character assassination. Now like everything becomes attackable about this guy, which sucks because genuinely there are like bad things about him, but I get really irritated when people decide like, oh, well, we're just going to go after every single thing, even if we're making it up now, you know? Because I'm pretty sure in this clip, when I first heard this clip, it sounded to me like he was almost talking about like other streamers or something. I don't know.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this.
Or just like people sending him innocuous messages. I thought that it was about like that. But like,
I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a whole lot of other people there that
I don't know why he would reference him working at Blizzard though. That's fucking cringe.
still know me. And all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned. Yep.
But then, like, I mean, like, the people that are messaging him are legitimately fucking unhinged. So, I mean, they should get banned. So, yeah, I don't know. In another clip, he talks about reporting streamers to Twitch for hate raids. Yeah, but now I'm curious, maybe there were streamers actually hate raiding him. Because when I heard him say that initially, I thought, is he just saying because, like, people from Mizkiv's chat are coming in and being mean? Or maybe there were smaller WoW streamers that were actually unironically hate raiding him, you know? So who knows? This is Destiny's ideal Wikipedia. Just to be clear, let me reiterate this, and I'll say this as we all go hurtling over the cliff, okay? One of the reasons why the internet has become so dog shit now is because of how fucking entitled all of you fucking crybabies are about everything on the fucking internet. You guys want to ad block every single thing. You don't want to pay for fucking anything. You expect everything to be instantaneous, high quality, free to you, available across all of your devices with an infinite amount of choice on everything, right? Like, you guys don't even understand how unbelievably fucking privileged you are in terms of your access to anything. You guys will cry when the Spotify shit is like $14 a month or some shit. Another subscription. Bro, I remember having to buy CDs, okay? You know how annoying that shit was? Before iTunes? That was like $12, $13, $14, okay? Dustin, you're ass mad we're losing you money? I'm ass mad that all of the software that I use sucks now because of you. I'm rich. I don't care, all right, if you ad block me. Motherfuckers, but if you do ad block me, fuck you, and I will find you. Don't ad block me. But, just the whole internet, one of the reasons why they're like all the news websites are all paywalled, and why there's on the sites that do have ads, they're like the most obnoxious, horrible fucking ads ever. And why everything is turned into software as a service instead of just being able to buy a product. It's now like monthly subscriptions and all these other dog shit add-ons, is because people have to find other ways to raise money. So yeah, but you know. Software as a service is popular not because people won't buy things, but because it's more profitable. I think it's because you can't sell software for more money because people will lose their minds. Like, I think you guys all expect video games to still cost $60 a piece, despite the fact that video games were $60 a piece like 25 years ago. Like, even if they just kept up with inflation, $60 in 2000 to 2024. Like, even if games weren't more expensive to make, and even if we just made the exact same types of games or whatever, they should cost like at least $100 now, if not more. But if somebody retailed the game for $100, even if like GTA 6 came out, you would lose your fucking mind. It would be over. You would probably collectively seppuku. You'd all mass kill yourselves. $100. Meanwhile, GTA 5 cost like, was it $500 million to create? GTA 5 budget. Am I making that up? Okay, $250 million. Holy fuck! This is why I just want them to make Internet 2, okay, where I can buy Windows for $400. Sell me a $400 license for Windows. I'll buy it. And there's no Windows Store. There's no Cortana. There's no, don't sell me anything. Just let me buy a piece of software. And then I'm good. That's it. Make Internet 2 where I can just like buy a subscription to something and that's it. I don't have to worry about ads. I don't have to worry about whatever. I'll pay the money for it. Okay? They're just, that's fine. Like YouTube Premium? Yeah, I think YouTube Premium is fine. Just get on Linux then. I watched some fucking... Do I want to call it a cringe video? I don't think this is for my audience at all. I don't know who this guy is.
I had finally snapped. My brain
James Lee? Does anybody know who this dude is?
was on fire. For years now,
They're very dramatic videos, but...
I've been infatuated with Linux. Ending my reliance on Adobe finally gave me the confidence to start experimenting with a new operating system, and I was determined to learn about the terminal, Flatpaks, and of course, Fisk. Something that I didn't quite grasp about Linux early on, but I've come to really love and appreciate about it, is that it's built for you to customize and really make your own. So you might think that there's missing features in the sound panel. Well, it's designed for you to install whatever sound panel you want. And people have made heaps of them. It's basic for a reason, and that's to give you a solid, lightweight base for you to build on top of. A popular distro is Linux Mint, and when I first used it I thought, I like the taskbar, I like the way the panels snap, I like the way it feels like Windows. But even all that stuff is just a pre-installed graphical user interface called Cinnamon, which is installed on top of Mint. You can change it to something else. You can make it feel like Mac OS, or have no user interface, or some interface that looks like something that you've never even seen before. And it feels so snappy. Why is it so slow on Windows to load a folder full of WAV files? And why does file search still suck? I used it on my friend's Mac OS.
I'm getting closer to this. I don't want to become that guy, but I'm like getting closer. I really don't like Windows these days. I don't like Windows because of like basic things that shouldn't be a thing. Like, one thing that I hate that's true for phones, and I've complained about this forever. Listen, if you're a Windows dev, here are just some things that I don't like anymore. I don't like the obfuscation of the file system. Now, I just might be an old guy, okay? And maybe I'm just used to how things used to be, but like I thought like tree structures were totally fine. They were A-okay. You click the thing, you go to the next folder, you click the thing, you go, and it's like trees, and it makes sense, and I get that. I don't know why we can't just stick with that. That was okay. And Windows forcing me to maintain folders with custom icons in my user folder. Why? Like, are you aware that you... Also, any integration, Xbox games and the Xbox... What's the shortcut for it? Is it Windows G? No. Oh, it is. Game and Cortana. I don't ever need this, ever. I don't want this ever on my computer. I don't even know if you can truly get rid of it. I think you can only disable it and it gets re-enabled randomly with certain Windows updates. I don't want this on my computer ever. I don't ever want this. I don't need this. Okay? I never downloaded it. I never asked for it. When you go in the user folder, it will always have these folders. Did you know that you can't delete the videos and the pictures and OneDrive and download? You can't delete these folders because Windows will forcibly recreate them. There's like so many little things in here that I fucking hate. Why can I not see I swear to God, I could do this in Windows 7. Did they change this? Did you know that you can't see the size of a folder? I can't arrange my folders by size? Other explorers that I download on Windows are able to do that. Why can I not ever see the size of a folder? They say because the way that the bullshit works, it would slow it down too much. But like, there should be ways to index the information or to do a read one time and then scan the folder for changes and then just display the size as long as there's no change. Like I know there are ways to do this. It's 2024, okay? There are so many things that I don't like about Windows now. I hate everything. I don't think I ever use this menu anymore. This is unusable to me. I don't even know how these apps are populated. I don't think I've ever used the window. I don't even need this thing on my hotbar. I don't need this. Remember when having WeatherBug was a sign that you were computer illiterate? I don't need all this. I don't know what any of this is. Like, yeah. I just hate it. I would pay 2, 3, 4 times whatever I need to like make it worth it to Microsoft to maintain a separate development branch or whatever. But like, just let me like, but yeah, I don't know. The more like all this stupid shit comes up, it makes me want to try like installing some distro of Linux and then configuring and fucking with it. I don't know.
And it was instant. That was 20 fucking years ago. I love that Linux isn't giving me recommendations or pop-ups or trying to steal my shit. It just leaves me alone. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of headaches. And getting everything up and running is not exactly a wank in the park. But you know, a few years ago, you couldn't even run games on Linux. Now
if you move to Linux, I would assume that you would have a bunch of issues with audio and video devices, especially those using proprietary software. You know what? Maybe, but at this point, honestly, I feel like everybody's so fucking retarded. I bet it's not true. You want to know the hottest fucking take? Here's the hottest fucking take. I bet that the majority of headaches from Linux come from retards that download it and look for fucking Windows binaries and can't double click to install something. Or people that have no idea how to live inside of a terminal, or people that have no idea how to like Google and troubleshoot something. Like, I feel like the difficulty for it is probably dramatically overblown. Like, people will act like, oh God, this thing doesn't work with Linux and it's the most complicated shit in the world. I bet there's probably just some fucking library or some dependency or some environment that you just probably download, and it's probably not that hard. I bet it's all probably overblown. Also, I feel like there's so much support for everything these days, but who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just really don't like... I really don't like Windows right now. Man.
Most of them run fine. It's just such a good time to jump on board, and things are getting more compatible as time goes on. Thanks, Gabe. But the thing I like most about Linux is that despite the headaches trying to get everything to run, there's a real sense of passion and optimism and community. It feels like technology, made by humans, for humans, brings a freaking tear to my eye. It reminds me of when I was just...
Linux will make you like Windows, let's just say that. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's probably guides on the internet that will let you install a distro of Linux that probably has all the same GUIs and shit to make it look and run like Windows anyway, sans all the annoying shit. Like, I'm sure that's out there.
All the things you could learn made me realize how much I've missed that sense of passion and optimism about tinkering around with technology. Yeah. I'd really recommend just installing Linux Mint to a USB stick, running it off that if you want to try it out. Don't worry, Oni. You won't break anything. So everybody's been dunking on Adobe and Microsoft lately. I think that both companies have become a symbol of just the general hatred that we all have towards...
No one cares. You're too stubborn for Mac, yet you're the legit target market. Rich guy who doesn't play video games anymore, who does AV production, podcast. I don't know. I've tried I'm so used to, I think, the Windows environment. I'm not used to navigating the Mac stuff. So I don't know. The issue is that you're going to have one device that isn't well supported on Linux that causes a bunch of issues and it just works on Windows. Yeah, but like today, I feel like CPUs and everything are so fucking powerful. And don't CPUs literally have like hardware virtualization that are like built into the fucking, like built into the schematics of the chip? Like, is it really, if you really need to run some Windows shit, is it that hard to spin up a VM and just run it inside of another environment? Like, is that impossible? Or the thing is, like, there used to be a time when virtual machines and dual booting and doing things on the computer was like really hard because everything was so resource intensive and the chips sucked and it was so much. But like, is it really that difficult? I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe it isn't. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Fuck all. Because I've never used Linux before. Most of the annoyances you showed, you can remove anyway, Destiny. Okay. This is such a naive take. There are super good reasons why a lot of the things exist the way they do in Windows that you just don't understand. You say that, but I know why they exist that way, and it's probably just because Windows makes more money that way. That's probably it. And then they can sell the OS for cheap, or they can give it away and just get people into the software as a service environment. But okay. I have to make this ad read because it's like doing my YouTube tomorrow or I'm going to die. But I need to install. Rudy is now over 2 hours late for his court hearing today. When he was 1 hour and 44 minutes late, he posted this clip of his dog at Mar-a-Lago. Vinny loves hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, but he's ready to spend a lot more time in Washington, D.C. over the course of the next 4 years in support of his favorite president, Donald J. Trump. Jesus. What was the hearing for this? How do you debug software problems with OBS/audio streaming stuff? It might be more cumbersome when you switch to Linux. I don't know. First you Google and see if anybody else has had the same problem with the same setup. And then when that doesn't work, then you go through and you try changing a bunch of random shit to see if it actually works. And then when that doesn't work, then you pray to God. You clasp your hands and you pray. And then you open the README and you hope to God there's good documentation. And then when there's good documentation, you go, man, why didn't I just start off reading this whole thing? This would have been so much easier. And then when there's bad documentation, you go, this is why I never open these dog shit fucking files. Fuck this shit and fuck the people that made this incomprehensible shit software that was never meant to be understood by anybody except for the developer and maybe a few of his friends.
We're now at the precipice of a regional war. It's not the first time though. Up until now, Iran and Israel have dodged bullets left and right, narrowly avoiding full-scale war. But Syria has fundamentally changed the playing field. Just a few hours after Assad's exit, Israeli ground forces moved into the Syrian side of the Golan Heights, expanding the demilitarized zone and taking strategic heights. Israeli tanks now sit within 30 kilometers
see anything updated on this? Okay, let's see what he says about Iran and Israel, and then we're done.
Of Damascus, possibly closer. Meanwhile, Israeli jets have bombed and destroyed chemical weapons sites and other advanced weaponry in Syria to keep them out of extremist hands. Explosions have been seen at Medza airbase near Damascus to keep them out of extremist hands. Strike near Tartus was so massive that it registered a 3.0 magnitude earthquake. The damage is extensive. Helicopters, jet fighters, and missile depots. A confusion about what's happening in and around Syria. Every side tries to spin the truth in their favor, but with ground news, I have the tools to read both local and regional sources.
Wow, Joel talks politics. Thank you for rating, buddy. Who is this?
Which allows me to consider all.
No! Don't buy from him.
Describing your
No!
directly. This video shows the destruction of Syria's helicopters, fighter jets, and related air defense systems. But what you're also seeing is the opening move in a chess game. Israel is turning Syria into what they call a sterile defense zone. By doing so, by removing Syria as a threat, Israel is actually opening a corridor that sets the stage for a massive preemptive strike against Iran. You see, by destroying virtually all of Syria's air defenses, the aerial front line has shifted 600 to 700 kilometers closer to Syria's eastern border. Israel can now fly its tanker aircraft hundreds of kilometers further east, which makes it possible for its fighter jets to fly to Iran and back without running out of fuel. This wasn't possible before, and it changes everything. For added context, Syria used to possess one of the world's most densely concentrated array of air defense batteries. Think of mid-tier Russian systems such as SA-17, SA-22, SA-6, SA-8, and SA-5 batteries. Now, while F-35 jets can sneak past these systems, tanker aircraft cannot. And therein was the problem. Tanker aircraft are large, slow, and lack stealth. Even outdated anti-aircraft guns pose a threat to them. Heck, the air defense systems Syria employed even posed a threat to F-16s. In 2018, Syria actually shot down an Israeli F-16 as the conflict between the two escalated. So, for Israeli tanker aircraft, Syrian airspace was a no-fly zone, and this restrained the range of Israel's military options. It was never really possible to conduct an airstrike going from Israel to Iran and back. The scale and distance of such an operation didn't leave much room for error. Even now, Israeli F-35s are restrained by this. These jets have a range of 2,100 kilometers, give or take. Suppose Israel launched its F-35s from Ramat David Air Base. The trip to Tehran and back would be at least 3,000 kilometers beyond the range of its jets. This doesn't even include the aerial maneuvers the aircraft would be making or the payload it would be carrying. External fuel tanks are not an option either. These would change the aircraft's geometric shape and reduce its stealth capabilities. Without stealth, it would be difficult to get past Iran's air defense systems, which are some of the most advanced in the region. So, a large-scale preemptive strike against Iran with the best odds of returning full numbers would have to be a stealth mission. That means no external fuel tanks or even external missiles. But for argument's sake, even with external fuel tanks, the operational range for the F-35 would extend only to 2,700 kilometers. That still falls short.
Why not just make bigger fuel tanks?
And so, for Israel, aerial dominance over Iran was never quite possible, not without American involvement, at least. All that has changed now with the neutralization of Syria's air defenses. The Israeli Air Force says it has destroyed 80% of Syria's short to medium range SA-22 systems and 90% of its medium range SA-17 systems. Again, these were never a threat to Israel's F-35s, but they were a threat to its tanker aircraft. Now, with only a handful of air defense systems remaining in Syria, Israel has effectively opened an aerial corridor through which its air force can move freely across, including its tanker aircraft. The aerial front line has moved up by 600 to 700 kilometers to Syria's eastern edge, where Israel's tanker aircraft can loiter and offset the distance for its fighter jets. So, Israeli jets can now technically take off from Ramat David Air Base, fly along the Syrian aerial corridor, cross into Iraq, and then fly into Iran to bomb and destroy military and nuclear facilities. Upon completion, the jets would then return to Syrian airspace for refueling before heading back home. If the Israelis feel particularly confident, they can even carry out a decapitation strike targeting Iran's supreme leader and the IRGC command. So, in short, by taking out Syria's air defenses, Israel now has a window of opportunity to launch a large-scale preemptive attack on Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure. And this opportunity may be too good to miss. With the incoming Trump administration, Netanyahu will likely bank on the new military options on the table and look to persuade Trump.
Somebody must have told him that he looks fat if he stands up straight, so he does this weird forward lean to make it look like his stomach is flatter than it actually is. This is what's going on here, right? Notice how he always stands like this whenever you see him.
The incoming Trump administration, Netanyahu will likely bank on the new military options on the table and look to persuade Trump to join him in attacking Iran. Even if Trump doesn't feel like it, by the time of his inauguration, Israel will have the means to go at it alone and then drag the United States into a war.
בתוך כמה ימים השמדנו יכולות שמשטר אסד בנה במשך עשרות שנים.
Because of the lifts in his shoes? No, I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with lifts in his shoes. I think it has to do with the fact that he's intentionally leaning forward to try to look thinner.
Back in 2018, Hezbollah.
Okay, I don't care about this.
Welcome to Subbrief's Naval News. An amphibious invasion fleet is taking shape in Chinese shipyards. A purpose-built series of 5 specialized Bailey Bridge beach landing barges are being constructed in Guangzhou, China. H.I. Sutton first reported on this story in his article on navalnews.com. You should go read it. It was published last week. He also recently published a YouTube video about 20 minutes long talking about how these ships work. I'll link that in the description. You should go watch it. It's worth your time. He compares these barges to the mulberry ports used by the Allies during the invasion of Normandy in World War II. But in this case, these barges would intentionally ground themselves in shallow water along the shorelines. Then a bridge would be lowered, and these bridges are between 300 feet and one as long as 500 feet to carry units from ship to shore quickly. A stern ramp is then lowered at the rear end of the barge where ferry ships can pull up and unload their cargo. And Chinese ferries are very different than, say, American and European ferries in that they are part of China's Civilian Military Fusion Initiative, which is a mandate that was passed years ago that all construction of ferries going forward will have dual use capability. One example of this is the Bohai Ferry Fleet that is capable of transporting the weight and size of armored vehicles, equipment, personnel, and some supplies to keep them going ashore per ship. This was practiced and exercised in 2022. China conducted a landing exercise using a civilian ship as a ferry for military personnel and equipment. So they've got the gear, they've got the mandate, the law, if you will. They've been practicing this for years now with naval exercises, and we think that this is just another indication that they're getting ready to invade Taiwan. These are some of the ships that they're going to use. I would like to cover a couple of the likely landing sites. Now, they can land anywhere they want, but there's a few key landing sites that seem like would be much more likely to be used. The first one is in Hsinchu, Taiwan. The reason for this is that's very close to the political capital of the island, Taipei, city of Taipei. The terrain here is also less rugged than the northern territories just north of this location. So this is...
Okay. China's invading. Be careful. Wait, does he actually have some physical problem? What is this?
The likes of what we've all done together. This is me, not me, it's everybody here. And I think they wanted.
Oh, the video has nothing to do with the article. Oh, my bad. And it's paywall. Good. Fuck me. Why? Is Donald Trump divested of his businesses and portfolios? We don't do that anymore. Okay. I need to figure this out. One sec. Um, okay. I'm joining the ground news family, all right? New York State Senator drops DNC chair bid and backs Martin O'Malley. What the fuck? No, I'm sorry. I just said Martin O'Malley. It's not. Don't quote that. I believe it's Ken Martin. O'Malley's first name is Martin, but when it says Martin, when it says he's endorsing Martin, that means Ken Martin, right? They don't mean Martin O'Malley. They would say that. I think, yeah. I don't think these two things are the same. I think that Trump is intentionally leaning forward so that he doesn't look like this. Because when you lean forward, it gives the impression that you're not fat because you're like your chest, your chin, like your face is all like in a line, and it makes you look maybe thinner than you are if the camera's from the front. But he's like clearly his like center of gravity is almost off of, it's definitely off the middle of his foot, right? And it's like almost over his toes. Maybe that's what it looks like. It's hard to tell because he's in a suit. Elon is just large here, but he's not using like a weird posture. Sorry, hold on. What are we doing? Okay. Okay. I think a good sponsor segment. I need to, let's watch Biden's speech.